Good evening. I want to go over a couple of my top picks in the stock markets coming up and do a quick review of what we called out earlier in the past 2 weeks. First off, Facebook, we saw the breakout move and continuation up. We could see this get all the way up to 330 before we start getting a major pullback. Also, CAR took off, made an extension. I expect this one to come back and continue up. Amazon, Bang, Google, all those stocks continued to move up. We did see the breakout move above this line like we predicted. We could easily see this get up to 3,400 before coming down. It will likely touch, pull back, and continue up now that the big tech stocks are moving. I want to do a quick recap on the index funds, but before I do, if we look at how the market has performed since the big pullback in March and the recovery, Bitcoin outperformed the ARK funds, which outperformed the Russell, which is our small caps, which outperformed the Qs, which is technology, which outperformed both Spider and Dow Jones. Let's get rid of Bitcoin so we can see this a little bit better. And recently, we've seen the Russell take off. So you can see how the Russell has just exploded higher in recent months. So the small cap stocks, if you're in a lot of these speculative small cap stocks, you might be wondering why you're red right now. Well, this is why, because we exploded higher and it will likely pull back before we continue going up. Qs, I like this for a continuation up to here, but we are pretty far away from the 9. I expect maybe one more push higher and then a pullback, maybe 2 or 3 days of pullback and continue. But this is a very strong looking chart. We had our explosive move up, and I would be taking profits when we get back to the previous high and as we continue higher. SPY, again, we've already made the move. We're sitting flat at the 1618 extension. If we can't get above this, we will pull back slightly before continuing up. We have consolidated, and that was a nice big gap. So I do expect a pullback before we can break higher. And then as we discussed, the RUT, you can see it had a slower start. Most of the other, like the Qs, had already made it back to where it fell off within a few months. It took the RUT a little bit longer, and then we had this huge accelerated spike, and now we could see this consolidate for a while and potentially retest this level as it goes higher. I do expect the markets to continue going up until maybe Q3 or Q4 of this year. Then I would expect another pullback. So the stocks that I'm watching, BBY, Best Buy. Although I don't want to hold this long term, I do think that once we break this level, we will continue up. We could see us get up to the 130 level and maybe as high as 140 before coming back and retesting this level. BLNK is more of a long-term and also a small cap speculative play, but I do like this if we can break back above the $43 level by buying on pullbacks into this area. And but it could sit in this channel for a while. So risky play. Micron Technologies, I do expect a, oops, old text. I do expect a breakout move above the 95. However, we've already had a jump here, so we could trade sideways for a little bit, even pull back and cover this gap before we continue up. But I'm expecting a breakout move soon. So we're going to talk about it. Index fund of the financials. We have a lot of the, well, several of the major banks having earnings coming up. We have a squeeze. It's firing. I think we're going to go higher here. So this is a, in my opinion, a relatively safe play as long as their earnings comes out well. And we could easily get to 35 and 36 in a short amount of time. GEVO has an ascending triangle forming, and we've hit the bottom wedge. You could take a small purchase here and then on the breakout buy. But again, this is a small cap stock, risky, and could take a while before you actually see this one pay off. But this is what I see forming. And if it breaks this, definitely if it breaks below here, it's not going long for a while. XPEV. We've all been playing in NEO and XPEV. Again, I'm seeing a ascending triangle breakout move. I would wait and let this consolidate a little bit further. So symmetrical triangles forming, wedges. I like apps. I'm in long term for this one. I think with the squeeze forming, I think that we're going to see an explosion higher. I would definitely be buying pullbacks all the way up to this ascending line. But within the next maybe week or so, we should see the breakout move. And I would try to hold to at least, well, take profits on the way up, maybe at the 100 and then 112. So our Bitcoin play, RIOT, again, symmetrical wedge, play the pullbacks. Let's see it get higher. We all think Bitcoin is going to continue higher for a while, so following along. And if these stocks don't get delisted, Chinese stocks, I like BABA here. I like the company, I like the setup. And, we've seen it hit this bottom channel and continue up. So, if you're not afraid of this getting delisted, then it might be a safe play. Maybe selling some put spreads, minimizing risk. Get out of the week view. MVIS. I might be grasping at this one, but I believe we're in a channel going up. I would look at buying once you hit the bottom channel with a stop below maybe $10. Well, you might have to hold all the way past 950. But if it breaks the channel, I would get out and then look for a run up. And then if we can get above the $19, we could see us all the way back up to 27. But again, small cap stocks are going to be trading sideways for a while. Now, these are just possible moves. I'm keeping my eye on them. We've got a squeeze forming. This is OKTA. And we could see this break higher once we get above the 233 level. And if we come back and retest this level, I would add and then let it go higher. But the good news is you're pretty much not having to hold past the 200 level. If it gets down below here, then it's probably breaking. But I like this to the long side. Similar kind of setup here with SPLK. I like the channel that it's forming. If we break above, we could see it go higher. I would sell put spreads and buy call spreads down in this area and maybe take a quick profit if it breaks above this level. Go long if it breaks above this level. I've already sold a put spread down here, and I would do it again. The news behind this is the company's not doing bad. There was just somebody getting margin called that drove it all the way down. If that is all true, then we could see this consolidate for a little bit and continue higher. So I am selling put spreads on this one and SKLZ. This one, I did not expect us to break this low, but we are hitting the 200 moving average. If you like the company and what they're doing and the direction it could go, this might be a place to add. And if it falls below 16, we're wrong, get out. If it climbs above 20, we could see this again, maybe hit this previous support line, bounce down before going back up. So I would be taking profits before it hits that and then potentially adding again if it pulls back. That's all I got. Have a good night.